Estate Cheat Code. I have Courtney Mitchell with us from Remax Premier Choice. Courtney, thanks so much for taking time out of your day today to jump on the podcast and to share your real estate journey.
Of course. I'm happy to be here.
And so, Courtney, where we start always with this conversation on the podcast is from the very beginning. Really going back to, where you grew up, what was your life like, childhood? Did you have any interest, hobbies?
Well, my childhood was actually pretty amazing. I was born here in Columbus, and then my mother remarried and we moved to Acapulco, Mexico. So I grew up in Acapulco, and that was wonderful. My stepfather was in the restaurant business there. And I don't know if you've heard of Senor Frogs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was my father.
Wow.
And and so we then I went to boarding school in high school in North Carolina, in Asheville. And then my last 2 years of high school, I went to Worthington Christian here. That's where I graduated from. So
what was it like living in, when did you move to Mexico? How old were you?
I was 4.
4. And then when did you come back to the States?
Pretty much when I went to college, because
Okay.
in high school, even though I was at boarding school, I would still go home, for holidays.
I'm curious, what did you learn as far as, your time in Mexico growing up? I mean, obviously a different culture, different way of doing things, different, thought processes and belief systems and all of those things. Anything stand out to you that, maybe, impacts you still to this day?
Well, we're all bilingual. So I speak Spanish the same way I do English. The Mexican culture is lovely. I mean, the people are warm and it's wonderful. So I think I've gotten a lot of that. I'm affectionate. I always say my blood is American, but my soul, my heart, and everything else about me is Mexican.
It's awesome. And what brought you to boarding school?
Well, we were all, when we were growing up, we were in the Mexican school, and I was in kindergarten. I was the youngest of my siblings that were there. And I was in kindergarten, and I came home and I was saying, "Good morning, mother." And I was speaking like that. And my mother about died because she was an American from Columbus, Ohio. So she and a bunch of other families in Acapulco hired teachers to come down and teach us. So it was basically a one-room schoolhouse, and that was my schooling until high school. And then it was everybody at that point went off to this boarding school in Asheville. And so that's why we went there. And then my mother decided to move to Columbus, and I was able, with my brother, to finish off and go to Worthington Christian here.
Awesome.
Because she came back.
Yeah. Awesome. And so what was the next steps for you? Did you end up going to college? Did you jump into the career field? Kind of take me down that path up until the point you get to the point of, I want to become a real estate agent.
Well, went to college in Indiana, Anderson, Indiana, and graduated with an elementary education major. I taught for 3 years and developed a full immersion Spanish program that started on the kindergarten level and went up to first grade. And I taught science in total Spanish. I did not speak any English to the students. And this was in Indianapolis, and at a private school there. And so then I started having my family. And so I decided to stay home and raised my kids. And then in the early 2000s, I became a single parent, and I thought, well, I'll get into real estate. My brother is a realtor, and I thought, I can do this, and I'll try this. So I did, and I did that for 3 years. And then, of course, that's when everything went, in the real estate world. And plus, my children were very young, and it was very difficult for me to do as a single
Yeah.
parent, evenings and weekends and all of that. So, so I got out of real estate and did several different things throughout those years. And then when they were self-sufficient and they could drive themselves to and from school, then I decided to get back into it. And that was in 2014.
2014. Yeah, it's one of those things when I got in, I've always said, I don't know how people with kids can now also sell houses. And so I have a 3-month-old right now. And, even though he's not even moving around, it's still kind of, you're still around, another person's schedule and all, and I just find it so fascinating because I've always, when I didn't have kids, just struggling to meet the demands of performing at a higher level, with the impromptu showings and meetings and all the phone calls and all of that kind of stuff. It's just amazing, that people can navigate that, in our space, and especially now with all of the travel sports and all of those
Oh,
things.
yeah. Well, I tell you, I remember one of my classes in Honduras. I don't remember who the teacher was who said it. And it was I think the best advice. And that was, yes, you're going to work and you're going to work a lot of hours, but always put your family first. And, it's true, set time out. And so a lot of times I'm saying to clients, I'm sorry, I have an appointment, or I'm stepping into a meeting, and actually I'm going to a sporting event for my kids, that sort of thing. So I think that was the best advice that I got in real estate school.
Yeah.
My second time around.
Yeah. So the second time around, 2014, I guess either one. Did you have people that doubted you? Did you have supporters? When you got your license? Because again, a lot of times, right? It's real estate, especially the first time, right, and even a little bit the second time for you, given that time period. 100% commission based business. The real estate market wasn't the greatest. 2014 was obviously better than the previous stint. But did you have supporters? Did you have doubters? Where did people fall, in your inner circle?
I didn't have any doubters. We have a very, very, very long line of generations and generations and generations of entrepreneurs in my family. In fact, pretty much I think every single family member is an entrepreneur or has been an entrepreneur. And so I think in that aspect, everybody has been supportive of one another. There's been, of course, a lot of, my family's done a lot in real estate. Like I mentioned, my brother was a realtor. He started early 2000s, and has remained all these years. So no boo-hooers, but just support. And so, yeah, I've been probably fortunate with that.
What was it like growing up in a family full of entrepreneurs? Because I believe, just interviewing agents and obviously helping agents get into the business on my real estate team, real estate's not the first career choice, right? Normally it's second, third, fourth, fifth, right? And some people fall into it. And what was it like for you growing up in a family full of entrepreneurs that, small business and obviously big business with, Senior Frogs and, that being a franchise and all those things?
Right.
What was that dynamic? I'm sure you picked up on natural skills and learned a lot of those things. Any takeaways there?
Well, I kind of hesitated saying this, but I think with an entrepreneur, most entrepreneurs, as you would probably agree, do better on our own schedule, doing our own thing. We don't necessarily like to conform to, others. So I definitely, I would say everybody in my family is is kind of like that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's definitely what I've learned growing up, is just so.
And what made you kind of get back into real estate the second time around in 2014?
Second time around, I met he's my business partner and my life partner. I met Mike, and he has or had a bunch of very high-end rentals, single family homes. And so he encouraged me to get back into real estate so that I could list his homes for him. And so that's pretty much what got me back in. And then I also I got the opportunity through him to list Rockford Homes. I'm their listing agent. So I list all of their inventory homes, any of their models that they're selling. So it's kind of a really nice niche that I've gotten into.
With and that's what what I was going to ask you is, diving into your career, in the beginning, obviously, having the connections, right, and going that route, specifically listing kind of new construction or even just listing side heavy. Did you expand outside of the new build world, or did you kind of just say, hey, this is going to be my area of where I focus?
It was very much, I would say, I thought it's going to be my area of focus, but when your name is out there, and so I would obviously get other listings or other buyers, and so yes, my business has grown because of that opportunity with Rockford Homes.
And I know when we were speaking previously, you mentioned you're now getting involved into the development side of real estate. Has that always been an interest for you, or is that something that you've learned to love over your career?
Well, Mike and I did a project 6 years ago. We built 16 condos, and we went in and we bought the land, and then we built that, and it was so fast. I mean, I think I had them all sold in 4 months. So we were in and out of that project very quickly. We loved it. We realized we work very, very well together. So at that point, we decided to go bigger. And so we bought land, and it's taken us just now 6 years to get through. We bought land in Dublin, and it took us years to get it out of. It was in Washington Township. We had to get it into the city of Dublin, annex it, and all of that. So it's taken a while, but we're here now, and we are, we'll be selling here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be going vertical in the fall. So
I want to ask you, because I think a couple things. One, the new construction space, that is something that I probably neglected for the first 8 to 9 years of my real estate career. I don't know why. I think it was just we just didn't think about it. And I got licensed in 2011. So, basically 2019 is when I'm like, I should probably start paying attention to new construction. I'm missing a big piece of, potential business over there, right? So, I think a lot of agents just think pre-existing market, and they don't think, that their clients may be interested or are able to purchase new construction. And new construction, I believe in Columbus, Ohio, at least, is going to be this thing that solves a lot of our inventory problem, right?
yes.
So that's one thing. If you're an agent here in Columbus and you're not doing a lot of new construction, get get with Courtney, right? Understand her product, understand her process, not just her, but every other builder in the marketplace, because you might be doing more new construction. But the second thing I think a lot of people don't understand, even real estate agents, is the development side. What does it actually take to go out? And I'm not, okay, building a single home is different than building, obviously a community. There's more that goes into that. But you said it took 6 years to get to even this point. What are some of the things maybe that you could share that you learned through that process that, if someone's listening that, is an agent or, even an investor, right? Because, even people that have money and like, oh, let's just go and buy land and start, let's put a barn dominium up, right? And it's like, well, it's not that easy,
Right.
What are some of the things you could share in the development side that you've learned?
Well, it started out as 6 acres, and then we wanted to purchase some more acreage that was behind, and that acreage is behind 2 existing homes. And so I actually literally went knocking on the doors, and they wouldn't come to the door, and then I would leave a note, and then Mike would drive me over again, and he'd wait out in the car, and I'd go and I'd knock on the door again. It took several times. Finally, I was able to connect with both women homeowners, and they sold us their land. So, we had to go through that. And then we had to go in front of city council several times. The engineers, architects, and then we had to put all the infrastructure in. So, it's been quite the learning process. I was more involved kind of at the beginning, but then this whole part is totally over my head. Mike does all of it. So then at this point, then I do the sales, and then he can back off a little.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Talk about, if you can, I don't know if, I know you said you're getting close to selling, your product. What does that look like? Obviously, in Dublin. But what product are you putting out there? Single family homes, condos, townhomes?
It's what it is. They're single family homes. There are 30 of them in our community. Our community is called Ayrshire Farms, and it butts up to Ballantrae. So it's on the corner of Cosgray and Shire Rings. And they'll start in the 700s. We are offering a Cape Cod, a 2-story, couple 2 stories, split level. They start in about like the 2,600 square feet and go all the way up to 3,600 square feet. 3-car garages, full basements. And the reason we came up with this, or the way we did, is we would sit there and we're both kind of dreamers. And so we were okay, what are we going to do? What's our next project going to be? And we live in a very large home. And we knew, we're empty nesters. And so we need to downsize because we don't need this home, but yet we don't want to lose any of the nice things in our house. So we're calling it smart sizing, not downsizing. And we thought, okay, what are things that we like? We love the 3-car garage. We love the full basement where you can just store all your Christmas decorations, take the Christmas tree down as is and set it down there. And we are 9-foot ceilings on the first floor, 9-foot ceilings on the second, granite, soft close cabinets, hardwood floors, and it's all just standard. So it's a modern country theme. I didn't say that right. Well, what is the style of that house called? Not modern country. What? Oh, híjole. Anyway.
What
Oh,
what are they going to be on quarter acre lots? Are they
they
smaller
are about
lots,
quarter
larger lot?
acre.
Okay.
They're about quarter
Okay.
acre
So it's going
each.
to be your neighborhood, your
There are two
traditional neighborhood.
ponds.
Okay.
Yep, two ponds, walking paths, a gazebo, uh, picnic table, benches.
I got to ask you, are you familiar with the Builder to Realtor Facebook group?
Yes, and I'm
Okay,
on that.
perfect.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
excellent. It's
I wanted to
excellent.
make
Yes.
sure I didn't know if you were on there or not. I wanted to make sure that you had access to that. Because if not, I would have gotten you added to it. So
Yeah, no, it's an excellent one that you've started.
So do you think that is this going to be a I don't want to say a kicking off because obviously you had a project before this, right? But is this kind of where you see things going with you guys in the future as far as we're going to do more of these?
I don't know if we would do a community again. Um, he will be retiring in the next few years. So what we have talked about doing is maybe going, for example, we have a condo in Fort Myers Beach, and we just went in and gutted the entire thing down. He and I do all the demo work, took it down to the studs, and then put it all back together and made it beautiful. We move walls, take down walls, move doorways, and we've talked about doing that sort of thing,
Yeah.
um, down, throughout the years.
Yeah.
So
Now I want to kind of pivot to more kind of future pacing of where you want your, things to go. And obviously we touched on it a little bit, but what's a goal that you're looking to accomplish, either in the real estate space or in the development space with the community within the next 12 months?
well, I'll be definitely still working on this project
Hmm.
on Ayrshire Farms. My guess is I'll probably be doing that, be working, selling and building probably for the next 2 to 3 years in there. So that will be very time consuming.
Yeah. And with that, are you guys building inventory homes, or is it going to be ground up, customized, semi-custom? What does
It's
the consumer get? What does the buyer get?
Well, right now we have a lot of interest.
Mm.
It's wonderful, a lot of interest. So um, I'm hoping that we don't have to do any inventory homes, because I don't. If we need to, we will.
Mhm.
But I think they're going to sell. And we are fully customizing the homes. So anything on the inside, we're making it so that if you want two owner suites, you can have two owner suites. We can literally do anything that the buyer wants. We want the buyer to have a wonderful experience, and we want them to be happy. We're thinking it might be their forever home,
Yeah.
and so we want them to be able to go in and customize it to their exacting specifications, and just let them be happy.
Yeah, and maybe for someone listening in that's, as an agent, right? One of the challenges um, with getting into the new build space or even being knowledgeable in new build space, and why I kind of created the Facebook group was because there was this gap, right? There was this gap in information I felt like between the real estate agent and builders and or builder reps on communities, right? Price points, specifications, all of those things. And so if you're listening in as an agent, right, make sure you guys are reaching out to Courtney because she has a product over there, and understanding the difference between full custom and semi-custom versus your production builders. And it's so important to make sure. And this is where I struggled, right? This is where I missed the first 8-9 years of my careers because I just didn't know. But yeah, make sure you guys reach out to her. Courtney, what are you guys projecting as build time for start to finish?
Build time about 6 to 8 months.
Awesome.
Hmm.
That's really good. I
And
mean, that's really good full custom.
oh yes, oh yes. And we will be using. So what we've done is Mike and I are the developers, and we have hired Rockford Construction to build the homes for us. So we will have access to their design center, which is beautiful. They've just all
Hmm.
redone all of that.
Yep.
And so, yeah, and I walk through with the buyer and their agent all the way through from start to finish. I'll be holding everybody's hand. We'll do it together.
Yeah. That's awesome. Courtney, I know this project might take 2 to 3 years. You said, what's a 5-year goal for you guys?
Oh, living on a beach. Living on a beach. You know, I will probably be retired by then also.
That's awesome. Do you have a legacy goal?
A legacy goal. Well, I do. I think of legacy. So my children, I have 2 adult children, both married, and I have 2 granddaughters. And I think that the legacy that I would like to leave is to show them, which I have, that you can work hard, and you can dream and fulfill your dreams. And that's kind of what I've done. And again, thanks to Mike, who's been a great partner in all of it. So, and my kids are entrepreneurs also, and so it's it runs thick in the blood.
Yeah. That's awesome. Courtney, one last question for you. And we end every podcast with this, and it may be what you shared earlier. It may be something different, but if you could give the audience one piece of advice, maybe it's something that you received, maybe it's something that you give now if people talk to you, and maybe it's not even real estate related. Maybe it's about being your own entrepreneur, right? You come from a whole family, of them, because in real estate, we are small business owners, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they don't teach us that in school. That's one of the they don't have a class for that. But what's one piece of advice that you wish that our audience could hear from you?
Well, I like the one about putting your family first, and just making sure you set time aside for your family. The other one is, I would say, find a niche, and a niche can be like I did in new construction. I've met with several realtors who have asked me, they, wanted to pick my brain about new construction. And so I've filled them in on the process of it, how it works. And then they've gone out and they've really honed in on the salespeople for all the different builders. So, I think that I would recommend for people to try that, for realtors to try that.
Yeah. It goes to finding, there's so many different ways to do real estate,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's, working with investors or working with first time buyers, sellers, whatever the case may be. I think part of that is you have to find what you're most passionate about within the real estate space.
Exactly. It's all about passion.
Yeah.
Because if you're passionate about it, you're going to be a better salesperson.
100%. If you guys are listening in, Courtney, thanks so much for your time. But if you're listening in and you're a buyer, right, and you want to learn more about the product that she's building, out in Dublin, her phone number is down below. If you are an investor, right, and you want to connect with her, I know the development space is tough. I know a lot of people are undereducated in that space, from an investor standpoint to a development, standpoint. There's different levels and expertise to that. If you're a real estate agent and you loved Courtney's story and you want to learn more, and pick her brain on, how to get into the new construction world and the development world from an agent standpoint. Her phone number is down below. Courtney, for those that may be listening in right now, that want to connect with you, what is the best way for someone to get a hold of you?
Probably my phone, 614-582-9351.
Courtney, thanks so much again for your time today and jumping on here to share your story, your journey. I'm excited to see, you posting in the Builder to Realtor group of the community and everything that you guys are doing over there in Dublin. I know that you're helping solve, an inventory problem for us here in Columbus at that price point. So I just appreciate your time. And if there's anything I can do for you in the future, please let me know. I'm here to help you and serve you any way I can.
Okay. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Good
All
to
right. Thanks
talk to
so
you.
much. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.